from significant. This is Crack It in an Hour.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Crack It in an Hour. One problem, 1 hour to crack it once a week. I'm Simon.
I'm Jessie.
I'm Roman.
And as you know, if you've listened before, one of us has a problem. The other two have no idea what it is. And we got an hour to go. Does someone want to start the timer?
All right, I can do that.
Perfect.
I can start the timer. I can also start talking because I'm the host today. It's too much going on.
You got the tea, you got the timer, you got the problem.
Exactly.
There we go.
Let's start the timer. All right, let's go. Today, you guys, we are going to go back to marketing something because it's been a while. It's been talking.
Marketing something. Okay.
We've been talking about saving society too much. And now we're going to talk about something that I think, by the time this episode is released, is going to be part of the cultural conversation. We are going to talk about award shows.
Oh boy. This topic has been recommended to me by so many people.
Really?
Yeah.
What was the exact subject that was recommended?
Fix them.
Okay, cool. So I love it. I explored different ways to attack the thing, fix them, market them. I landed on how do we market them? But I'm happy to talk about how to fix them, whether it's the format. I do think a focus on marketing could be interesting because when you start digging a little bit, one could wonder if they need to be fixed. It's really interesting.
Interesting.
Because the data at a high level, the easy one is TV viewership.
Yep.
That's tanked, right? Like a few numbers. The peak, let's talk about the Academy Awards. The peak in 1998, 55.2 million viewers. The low, 2021, 9.8 million viewers.
Wow.
And
TV.
Are we talking about the Oscars?
Academy Awards.
Academy.
Yes. This one's the
Okay.
Oscars.
Sorry.
It's peaked up again a little bit, doubled since 2021. So we're back at 18 million in 2023.
Okay.
And I think we're pretty much flat here. That trend is kind of roughly the same across all the awards. If you talk about the Grammys, you're at 40 million in 2012, you're at 8 million in 2021, you're back at 12 million in 2023.
I can't believe 40 million ever watched the Grammys. But
it's crazy.
That's a conversation for another time.
Or for this time.
Emmys, lower numbers, but a similar trend. Overall, the headline on the trend for TV viewership is that award shows have declined faster than overall broadcast television, right? So that is already a sign. There's a problem here. Yeah. It's not just cord cutting. It's lack of interest for the format, the event itself.
Yeah.
The reason I was saying it's a little trickier is that socials exploded. Like the volume of clips and engagement on social is going up every year. And so that's where you could be like, okay, but does it need to be fixed? Or I think it does. And I think we should talk about what a modern award show should look like. But I just wanted to call that out because it is just a different behavior, media consumption behavior.
So can I clarify something? You're basically saying that it's not a lack of interest in the award shows. It's a lack of interest in the old format.
I think.
Okay.
Well, and that's why the question I'm asking today is and let's keep it focused, if the Academy Awards came to see us to promote the 2027 Academy Awards, then how do you go to market with something like that?
Yeah.
Like
it's such a good example of a situation where we would likely get a question of how do we increase viewership? And we would say, is that the right problem to even solve? So I think it is a really, really interesting one.
Exactly.
I like your framing of the question because it's not necessarily it's engagement with it more so than the viewership.
Yeah,
and so how do you market
engagement and this, maybe I'm off on this, so feel free to say so. And also making its importance elevated a little bit, I think too, to some degree.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think that leads to a good question of, to talk about importance. Maybe there's a bridge to build anyway, but what are we actually selling?
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Like the usual
What
question
did it
of like,
start
what are you
as?
really selling? Oof. Did I say that was a fast prep?
Yeah. You didn't go all the way into the history of, you knew I was going to soul search.
It started as once upon a time in Hollywood, someone wanted
tell me a
to.
story.
I actually don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, most of the time, these things were started as a way to push forward Hollywood. Like they were advertisements for Hollywood and the importance of Hollywood
And they
all of that sort of
essentially
stuff itself.
helped Hollywood raise money for itself by
and
showing
make it important,
popularity.
and it's good for the industry,
Good
right?
for the
Like
industry,
generally speaking,
yeah.
you do an award show because it's good for the industry.
Yep.
Um,
Pumps money into it.
So it starts, yes. And
You know
now
what I
you
mean?
see when you live in LA, it's something that, shocks you the first year you live here. The amount of billboards,
oh yeah.
for your consideration billboards.
Well,
right?
and
I
also
think-
people who are like, "Hey, what are you doing for the Oscars?" I'm like, "I'm doing absolutely nothing for the Oscars."
Can does one of you want to talk about those for your consideration campaigns that you see
sure.
all over
Yeah.
LA but doesn't exist anywhere else?
Go ahead.
So basically, for those of you who don't live in LA, come award season, there will be ads, not for movies or TV shows that are about to come out, but things that have already come out, basically showing oftentimes the awards they've already won, the things they've already done, and then also what it looks like they're oftentimes, like, for example, around Oscar season, it'll be like, so-and-so is nominated for Best Supporting Actor for your consideration. Oh, and by the way, here's the awards it's already won. So they're basically billboards directed at people in the Academy to vote for them to try to win an Oscar.
Exactly.
And
And that applies to every
I don't
single
know
award
if a
show,
lot of
not just the
people
Academy Awards.
know how that voting process even works.
Go for it.
I mean, I don't know the massive details, but I know there is like the Academy, but there are also like, I don't want to say it's not regular people voting, but there are people who like what would you even call it? Like a panel almost of like, I remember I had a film professor who was not technically the Academy, but was casting votes for the Oscars.
Right.
So there is like a layer of, I don't even know what you call
in
it.
the Academy?
I don't think so,
No?
but maybe I'm wrong about that.
Because I know, like, to be in the Academy, you don't need to be,
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
thousands of
maybe,
people. I think
maybe
there's
he
thousands
was.
of people
Maybe that's
voting,
it.
right?
Maybe the Academy is just much bigger than we realize.
And I don't know
it is.
the details
But-
of it.
Yeah.
I
But-
know that, like, for example, like, Honora,
Totally.
they spent more on their budget
Yep.
to win an Oscar than the budget of the movie itself.
Wow.
And it was one of the smallest budgets to ever win.
Yeah.
But yes.
But like,
insane.
there's a whole industry to it.
I think before we get too far away from it, I want to go back to the why of it all, because what you were saying, generally award shows start because they pump money into the industry. I think the evolution at some point, whether it was intentional or not, but I think then many award shows became about the protection and the celebration of the art itself. I think there's probably an arc in every award show where it's like, it starts because it's about making money for the industry. It's always about making money for the industry. But at some point it was like, no, this is a recommitment to art and craft and creativity. And I would say right now, I don't know what it is.
Mhm.
Like, because I don't think it's really that, we're not in that era in my mind of I feel like that was the second
Well,
wave
there was
of
that
award
like
show.
phase where, like, was it The Artist that had like no audio in it whatsoever, and it won Best Picture, and people were kind of like, wait a second,
Exactly.
what
We
are
were in a real artsy, for the art of it phase. And
Black
now
and
I'm
white,
sort of like,
Yeah.
I don't actually know what the Oscars stand for now.
right?
And I think that's an interesting, because it's sort of just riding on the coattails of like celebrity fandom in a way. And by doing that, it sort of has lost its own sense of like, what is the Oscars representing in the first place?
Mhm.
Because it's just become like all things in Hollywood, just sort of another reality TV kind of experience, in my opinion.
The easy one to me, the first one that comes to mind, it's the lowest hanging fruit, but I still think it's true. It is still recognizing excellence, isn't it? Like I think
What's the
both-
definition of excellence?
Like, people, let me frame it from like how it piques people's curiosity. People want to know what's seen or what's perceived to be the best of something.
I agree.
Right?
Yes.
Like, that's also
Until
why
they don't. That would be my one thing.
Keep going.
For example, The Artist, it was so far off of people's perceptions of what they think could be in the realm of great that they were like, wait, what? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But keep going. I agree with you.
Yeah, but can I push on that? Because I think that's very logical and I think it's true, but I don't think that's what the Oscars as a brand is standing for. Like, I think that's just sort of the existing around it.
Let's talk about
and
this.
I think that's what I'm getting at is like there was a phase of time where I could say, like, even if I didn't get it or I disagreed with it, it was like for the art, for the craft, they were like standing for something. And now it's just a thing that does a thing. I've never been a huge award show person, but there's certainly been times in my life I've been more interested than I am right now. Yeah.
Let's start here, which is if we were hired, I love the way you frame this, which is like, if we were hired by the Academy to make the Academy Awards more relevant, let's just do movies for now. What would be the KPI? Would it be people are more interested in film? Is it next year more people go to the theaters? Is it we just got more viewership to the Oscars itself? I'd be curious because, like, to me, I think what you're trying to do by throwing an award show, going all the way back to it, is just garner interest in whatever it is that your award show is celebrating.
Yeah, movies. Your job
I think so.
Yeah.
And so I think like your goal is literally, how do you make people more interested in movies by throwing this award show?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so it's like,
I like that.
If we start from there, just
well, and it's interesting. I've always thought the timing of the Oscars was very interesting to me because it's the beginning of the year, but it marks the end of the season.
Yeah.
And like that's always thrown me off a little bit, but it's an interesting thing to use if your KPI is to create, like, if you could end the 2025 movie season at the beginning of 2026, and the feeling people walk away from the Oscars with is like, I cannot wait to see what happens in 2026.
Yeah.
I think that's what you want, to your point.
I agree. I agree.
That's cool. I like that. I don't know how to do it yet, but
I didn't follow your logic, but it sounded great.
Cool.
Yeah.
How often does that happen?
No, I got lost in my train of thought. So wait, Simon, you were saying the job is to get people interested in movies.
I think so.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that's the goal of an award show.
Through the award show.
Through the award show. We're still talking about the award show because because you I think you brought up like you probably killed like 20 minutes of conversation right away in a good way, which is like, it might not be viewership. It might be like, I'll give you a perfect example is like, I found out about the Will Smith slapping Chris Rock thing, not through watching it. I got like a million different texts with it. It was on my social all the time. Like, I found out about it.
Yeah.
But it had nothing to do with sitting through the entire award show. You know what I mean?
It's interesting. Crazy, I think at some point we do have to talk about the format, Jesse. You brought this up. But when you think about it, in the last, I can't remember when that one was, but
I'm going to say 3 or 4 years ago.
I'm going to say in the last 8
post-COVID.
I'm going to say in the last 8 years, we got 2 iconic cultural moments. One was like Accenture or BCG or whoever fucked up the envelope and they announced the wrong winner. And the other one was like those guys fighting on stage. Like, it's
there's
insane.
a third one.
Yeah,
you are forgetting a third one. John Travolta trying to pronounce Idina Menzel's name. That was a pretty culturally iconic moment.
When was that? That was for Let It Go, right? Idina Menzel is the one she sang.
But you said in the last 8 years. I think maybe that was a little longer ago. But it was. But yeah, oh my God, the envelope.
The envelope. Mm-hmm. Wasn't that amazing?
Yeah, that was Moonlight or La La Land, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And again, the La La Land
I didn't find out about that by watching it.
I get nervous. I did watch that.
Yeah.
I loved it so much. So anyway, there is a thing about like, it's why people watch live sports. It's the thrill of live.
Yeah.
And there's a bit of that.
Yeah.
In
you
that
almost
thing.
want more mistakes.
It's like, and I would never ever watch it. And since I moved to LA, we kind of watch it every year, and it's become a bit of a family tradition.
No, totally.
And we're like,
it's way bigger deal here.
And
it's a way bigger deal.
It's long, and so you watch. It's like the Super Bowl. You watch a part, and you don't watch the next part, and whatever. It's cool, but we watch it. The TV's on that Sunday night, and I think that's why. I think it's because like there's a thing about the thrill of
what's going to happen
live, right? With the most famous people in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, combine those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think that's it is interesting because you almost forget that it's going to be live, because I think, especially to your point about the most famous people in the world, it's very rare to have all of those people in such candid moments.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are times I actually, like, as you're saying it, I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of forget that it's live.
It's interesting.
It's literally
That's why
live.
the Golden Globes are the best, and I'm sure that's why
and
they
they're
do
more
that.
boozy.
The
and
Golden
they're a
Globes
little
are
more
the best
edgy
because they're all drunk. Not all of them, but some of them are. And I'm sure that's why they can drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would bet that that's the reason
Just
they
like, let's see
push
what happens.
to allow them to drink.
It's good times.
It's like to give like the thrill of the live show.
It's like why Anderson Cooper and Andy Cohen get to drink on the New Year's Eve live.
I've never watched that one.
It's the greatest show. It's the greatest moment in television.
Like
it's
the
literally
ball dropping in
the two
Times
of
Square.
them getting wasted in Times Square, hosting live the New Year's Eve celebration up until the ball drop. And it is pure, beautiful chaos.
Really?
Yeah.
It's
That's
the best.
cool. That's
once
cool.
a year, the best show on TV.
Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing.
Okay, let's go back to that question.
Sorry.
What are we selling?
Yeah.
What are we selling? Like what is the award shows truly selling? If it's not excellence, which I agree, it's too easy and it's not interesting.
Yeah.
It's probably not prestige. It goes with excellence.
I think I'm almost embarrassed to say this, but like it's a little bit magic. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think like
Kinda like that.
when Hollywood is at its best, it
That's true.
is like, oh, that is something otherworldly. You know
It's
what I
so
mean?
true.
And I think that is
yeah.
still, to me, the strength of what Hollywood does. Like, compared to, like, we have content out the butt, but like when you do see, like, and even the things that you've seen isolated, when you see them all combined, there is something about like, oh my God, like, one battle onto another, and then K-pop Demon Hunter, and then Frankenstein. And you're like, these are all like crazy in their own different ways. And there's such, you know what I mean? It's like the sum of it feels very powerful and almost like, I don't know, moving in a way. I think when done correctly, you know what I mean?
I'm with you. I think magic and immersiveness and emotion and moving. I think what's interesting, it's what we say to so many brands. I think if I may guess, why you said I'm almost embarrassed to say this is because it's tale as old as time, movie magic.
Movie
However,
magic, totally.
What do we always say to people? You don't need to reinvent your soul. You need to put it in the modern context. And so I think it's exactly right. Like the soul of Hollywood was magic, like movie making magic. And I could make the argument easily that we need that today now more than ever.
Yeah.
And so I think that's an interesting thing. Just like we say to so many brands, like you need to go back to your DNA, but think about it in a modern context and think about why people need that today more than ever.
Yeah.
I think that gets so exciting.
Feels like the DNA is still there. The execution is lost its way.
Yeah.
Well, because I think it's gone a little too, I mean, the reason you talked about why it's cool it's live is also, I think, a little bit, maybe a little bit the problem, which is like, is it becoming too tabloid? Is it becoming too doing it for the content? You know what I mean? Sort of thing. I don't know.
I think there's been periods of time where it's probably felt too highbrow.
Probably.
And then periods of time where it might feel a little too tabloid. And I think that's always been an interesting thing with Hollywood is it sometimes feels elite.
But
and
like, is that a bad, like, let me give you,
I don't know.
what if Hollywood's a luxury item? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, and like people interact with it as such, and you find like, cause like what's interesting right now, and I'd actually be very curious to see this, is like, if viewership is down, is content around it going up, or is it going down, or is it flat? And then if so, some of that content is probably in service of helping the movie industry. Some of it is just hating on it. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much around it. And it's like, how could you control your ecosystem a little bit, or give it interesting ways for people to engage with it while still building that element of prestige around it?
Well,
I know that's very vague.
No, I agree. Like I would use also a little bit cringy, but maybe more than luxury, I would use the term aspiration. Because I think if I'm going to go back to the goal, which is to make people fall in love with movies again, I think if you treat it like an aspirational thing, you want to sink into the world of it a little bit. And so I think that's really interesting.
Like it should transport you somewhere.
That's what it does.
I mean? Like you're like, oh my God, like, you know, when I was a kid and I was most into this, and you'd be like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like all those people are there. Yeah. That's crazy. And like,
this is like, I mean, I'm not the audience we're talking about because I love film. This is like my passion, my background. But do you remember the movie Hugo?
Yes, I know what it's about, but I never watched it.
With the older man who like kind of like the little kid who like lives in the clock in the train station, and then the man who makes the toys, but he actually used to be an amazing Hollywood director. And it's just a beautifully told story. I'm really butchering it, but it kind of goes back in time and like explores Hollywood through the 50s and the 60s and how they made like scenes come to life. But it's like him rediscovering this older man rediscovering his own passion through film. And I've always loved that movie because, and again, I'm a bit of a film buff. So like I know that this wouldn't work for everybody, but like when you see the actual movie magic of the 50s, the 60s, it's incredible. It's so cool. It's incredible. I know we're getting away from awards, but I like talking about the movie industry.
But I think that's the core of like what you're trying to sell, or at least what I think you should be trying to sell on some level. I'm just spitballing here, but like, what if the Oscars was intentionally the moment that was like elevated over all content? You know what I mean? In a world where content is democratized, what if you made it like it feels exclusive in a really lovely way?
That I think that's really interesting because probably the first reaction would be a tendency to do the opposite of that. Yeah. To your point about there's been this is a slight tangent that maybe we should talk about. Culture has obviously transformed so much, and I guess it's like it was a little more like monoculture before 100%. Than it is today. Yeah, and that is like still very monoculture in the way and everything, right? Not just that it's just about movies, but like it's so focused on one thing. Yeah, yeah, and one human's gonna win that one thing. Yeah, that doing what you're saying. The tendency would be to try and make it less monoculture. Yeah. And if you wanted to make it less monoculture, you're going to add categories. You're going to have Mr. Beast up there. You're going to have like whatever, right? But what you're saying is double down on it.
I agree.
Yeah. And I'm with you, Simon. Yeah. I think double down on it. Yeah.
Like
what go ahead. What did you think of the fact that there was a podcast category at was it the Golden Globes?
It made me less. I mean,
well, it was ironic I like that to also win like I mean, we got a shot next year.
For your consideration.
Oh God, that would be so good.
We'll do a billboard.
Guys, let's do a billboard. Okay,
we'll
do a billboard on Sunset.
We should do it for your consideration.
FYC.
Okay, cracked it. I mean, I don't know. I was like cool, but not it. I think to what you said at the beginning, that's a celebration of media. That's like an award show deciding that their goal is not to increase people's love and appreciation of film, but rather to just celebrate media and like the evolving media landscape. And I'm like, okay, if that's your objective, good job adding podcast as a category. But I think just broadening it out to all media is not as interesting as.
I'm guessing the goal is not a media goal, more of a audience and culture goal. I'm guessing the next one is actually who's like YouTuber.
Yeah, but that's what I'm no, we're saying the same thing. Okay, like cool. I'm saying Simon's point was
double down on
like not just double down, but we've decided between the three of us that we think the goal of the Oscars should be to make people appreciate, love, engage with movies. I'm saying without a goal like that, I can see the industry just saying, well, the media landscape is changing. So like, we better toss in this emerging media.
It feels like a
one,
reaction.
It's a reaction to like just celebrating the best of all media.
We are seeing
but
something.
one of the things that I can't remember what you said, Simon, but it made me think of something. I guess when you were talking about doubling down on like the what makes it unique, doubling down on its DNA. It made me realize that right now the Oscars are more about the people than the films. And I think that's a little bit, I mean, I get it because you're celebrating the hard work they've put into it, especially, I mean, all of them, the writers, the directors, the sound designers, everybody. But it's like, it's not about film. It's about the people,
the celebrities.
Yeah. And I never thought about it that way, but I'm like, I don't know, maybe that's, how do you use the people as a way to celebrate film instead of using the Oscars to celebrate the people?
I think the thing is too, is like, it's a bit of a like symbiotic relationship, I think too, right? Cause like, I think it helps film to have superstars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it helps superstars to have film. You know what I mean? So
I think it's, I love the intent of what you're saying, but it fucks with my head a little bit because I think it's one of the many reasons some people love this is it's unrelatable but relatable because they're still humans, but they're so not attainable, and you're like, wait. So if it's not about the humans anymore, it makes it even more difficult.
No, I'm not saying don't make it about the humans. I'm saying if you want to double down on movies, then how do you better connect the human to the magic of movie rather than it just being a celebration of the human? Like, because the magic doesn't exist without them.
Yeah.
But I think right now it feels to me like it's become all about them, not all about what they created, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm just thinking about like how to.
You want a more communist approach to the award shows. I get it.
I'm just
exactly.
I'm jumping to execution a little bit here, but like I'm sure you all saw this, which is the football game of the Super Bowl had less views than the halftime show of the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And arguably it was a lame football game and the best halftime show ever.
It was, right? But I think the
Yeah.
interesting thing that the NFL did is it built a tentpole moment out of halftime.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It created a moment inside the moment.
Yes. There's like 3 or 4 million people that tuned in just for the halftime show.
And if you look at the Oscars right now, like I know best supporting actress or best supporting actor is the first one they always do just to like get people intrigued. But after that, I don't have any like compass to what the rest of the what to be on next or what to do next.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, like, would it help just to like, to your point, if this is about a celebration of film, like, would there be like, I'm just bad example here. Like, we're going to get 2 superstars to recreate a famous moment from film at this point in the show.
Yeah, that's interesting.
You know what I mean?
So you want to
like,
make it a show. You want to make it more like the Grammys.
Well, it is a show. Like,
No,
I mean,
but
they
I
do
mean,
have,
sorry.
they have musical performances. They usually recreate like, you know what I mean? Like back in the day, they used to have like can dancers.
But like
and
the
stuff
Grammys
like that.
is a full-on concert.
The
right?
Grammys is a full-on concert, right?
Yeah, but I think what you're saying is it's not just about the show. It's like there's no architecture right now that carries the viewer through
it. Exactly.
So like you don't necessarily. It's not a memorable order. You don't know the order of the awards. There's not like markers throughout it that you're like, hey, I'm going to get up at this point and like go fix some food, but I know I need to be back at the half point mark. So there's nothing to like pull you in and out.
There's no tether to the rest of the experience.
That's interesting.
But what if you actually changed it every year so that people have to stay the whole time to not miss their favorite moment?
I think you need some. See, this is the thing though. Is like, for example, let's use the Super Bowl as another one. The game changes every year, but if you don't care about football, you know that halftime matters, and you know that like, hey, I'll pay attention at the end if it's close.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's at least a few things you can sink your teeth into.
Even the beginning, right? They're always going to sing the national anthem, which is its own moment because who did they bring to sing it? You got the, the jets flying overhead. All right. Now I'm sort of, now you might be out. Now you're back in at halftime and then you come back in at the last 10 minutes.
Exactly.
Like, there is a...
It's interesting to talk about the Super Bowl because every time I watch the Super Bowl, and it took me a few years to get into it, but now I'm increasingly hooked on football playoff season and definitely never want to miss the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the football playoffs are great.
But every time I've watched it, most times 75% of the room were expats, if not more. Yeah. And the reaction is always, damn, America knows how to do this.
Yeah.
But that's not the case for the Oscars.
No.
Yeah.
Like the NFL knows how to do it.
But it's so American.
It is.
It's like it's
unapologetic.
An annual thing that feels like it's only every 10 years. There's that much excitement and money and celebration
100%.
of America and celebration of culture. It feels like something. It feels like the Olympics.
Yeah.
But it's every 12 months.
Yeah.
And why? How do you take that feeling and put it in the Oscars? Right? And it doesn't need. It needs to be a version. It needs to be that feeling, but a different flavor. Of the execution. No. Absolutely. Because we're talking about
and for every award
elite
show.
And exactly. Yeah. And all the things we've already talked about. How do you do that?
The MTV Awards, like jumping somewhere else. Like I remember I'm older than both of you, so bear with me. But I remember when like grunge was taking off and like the MTV Awards was like this like portal into like, this is the up and coming culture. And they did such a great job of encapsulating that. And sort of like, obviously expectations were lower back then because of how far entertainment has come now. Mm-hmm. But like every show, a Super Bowl or an award show or whatever, I think is at its best when it's like, we've crystallized what you love about this thing and this moment of this thing and just like exploded it. And you're right. Americans are the best at it. I think the NFL is the best in the world at it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think they're better than the Olympics. I think they're better than the World Cup. Come at me. But I do. And it's just like, how do you transport that to everything? You know?
The thing is, it's even though you described movies as a monoculture or the Oscars, the award show, it is cross genre. The experience. And I think football is even more singular, which makes it easier to like, or like when you talk about grunge, it's like, if you're going to do like the best ever grunge experience, like
exactly.
It lets you be a little bit more focused. It makes me think that there should be a theme. Like
that's interesting.
Like you should, even if it's the awards and all the movies are across multiple genres, like next year's Oscar should be a celebration of animation or something. And the whole experience feels like you're living inside an animated world so that you can do what you're talking about, even though like each, you're going to have more than animation celebrated.
But
I think
you need to host.
Yeah. You need to like pick a little bit. One of the other things that made me think about maybe a tension within the Oscars is movies are essentially, most films have a cultural point of view.
Yeah.
And that's why people love them. And they create tension and they create feeling and they do all of these things.
They do.
And the Oscars has tried so hard for so many years to find the most like neutral position in the Oscars itself, because there's been so much like, they try to find a host that's not gonna.
Yeah, I know.
Who's gonna be they intentionally create a neutral environment for a category that is
the opposite,
rooted in point of view.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think you have to like I think you got to let it go. Cause I don't know how you're basically underselling the value of movie. So if the goal here is to make people fall in love with movie again, you have to embrace tension. You have to embrace disagreement. You have to embrace all of it. All of that point of view.
Your idea of point of view, I want to take it a step further in just stealing from the NFL as well, again, a little bit, because they seem to be very good at spectacle. Do you remember when the NFL started doing the Nickelodeon stream?
Oh yeah, totally.
No.
And then, so basically they do a stream with Nickelodeon, where good. Nickelodeon, all it is like when the receiver goes in gets a touchdown, like slime explodes out of everywhere. Cool. And then there's another stream that they do with the Manning brothers sitting in their basement just commenting on what they see in the game while they have other guests on. So what if you
wait, remember the Toy Story one?
Yep, they did that too. Yeah.
So when you say a stream, just to unpack, you go on YouTube, you have a
these
channel
were on TV.
On TV, but it's not the CBS. You watch the game; it's a different channel.
On Nickelodeon, and you watch on Nickelodeon,
and then it's the channel with the Mannings, where you both
on
watch
ESPN.
the game and see live commentary.
And so one place my head goes to when you're talking about point of view is that this is a moment also where there's a lot of different reasons to watch it, right?
Yeah.
And like, what if you had like, for example, like Anna Wintour do a fashion stream,
amazing,
just about
so good.
Amazing.
What people are wearing, why it's important, what the narrative behind it is,
amazing,
that sort of thing. So again, you are keeping a level of like, no, this is an exclusive club. But we're going to bring these sub elements of it to make it more interesting to specific groups.
One event, different experiences from different points of view.
But you still maintain a
singular,
a level. You know
Dude,
what
I love that.
Amazing.
That's so cool.
That's a tangent, sharing of frustrations. I'm a big tennis fan, and I've been complaining for years. I have huge respect for like the legacy commentators on ESPN, but where are the other guys?
Yeah.
And that's what you're talking about. I'm like, I would kill it to watch a stream with just like Nick Kyrgios and Johnny Mac and Serena and like someone who's never played tennis.
Yeah,
and like I would watch that. Who they're just like bantering in a living room as they watch the game, and I would see the game and and like it's a version. What you mentioned is a much better version, but like every sport can learn from what you just. I didn't know that thing about the Mannings. I've never heard of it.
Manning cast.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's pretty funny sometimes.
Yeah. And it's like I think it's the Monday night game. It's been on the last 2 years.
They're goofy.
And it's great.
Okay, because you brought up tennis, one of the things I was thinking about, because you always talk about how the winning speeches in tennis suck. They're like I think you brought it up on an episode. They're formulaic and you think my team, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But I do think Oscar speeches do tend to break through a lot. Like it's something that people watch on the content. And I don't know if there's something to do with that. Maybe that's maybe that's just plays into one of your feeds. Like it's just nothing but the speeches and commentary on
imagine there was a feed from like a really great actor, an esteemed actor, who is literally like, I'm going to tell you why this person's nominated for this. Like in this performance, this is what they did. And this is why that's so hard.
You have no idea how hard this is.
You have no idea how hard it is to do that sort of thing. You have no idea.
So many versions of what you said. Just do the comedy version.
Exactly.
And have what Ricky Gervais did at the Golden Globe for years. Well, to me, it was like genius.
Yeah.
But, ruffled some feathers, maybe. Yeah. But you have that on a stream, like for the whole show. Like, there's so many versions of it.
That's so cool.
And you're just making more content for yourself too. And you're owning the level of output at least. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It's interesting because that speaks to the lack of fragmentation in the rights for all those events. Yeah. And like if the rights owners thought about it a different way and tried basically segmenting their business, they could get to the same dollar amount, but then on the back of it get much more visibility because they're going to tap subcultures directly. Totally. I think that would be a good way to look at it.
To go back to the brief of make people fall in love with movies or have more appreciation, it's the whole reason there are so many different categories in the Oscars, right? You can appreciate the costume, you can appreciate the makeup, you can appreciate the music, but I think right now, they're just treated like categories instead of subcultures.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way of putting it.
What you're talking about is treating each of those things, the fashion, the music, the craft of acting as different subcultures. And you can create interest in movie magic again by like putting people through those lanes. I love that.
Letting people dive deeper through their interests, right? And because you're right, they are all interests. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It's so cool.
It's interesting to think about. I mean, I know like I don't know how easy this would be for some lesser award shows, frankly, just because I think it would be.
I mean, I don't know what you call lesser, but even if you go to music, you could do it. If you go to like other TV, the Emmys, the Golden Globes, you could still do it. I think it's an idea that actually travels. An execution that travels. Yeah. Do you think, because we talked about sports a little bit, which is probably the number one in terms of things you want to watch live, and award shows maybe number 2, I'm guessing. I don't know. What else is there? But sports have always relied on rivalries a lot.
Yeah.
Well, at all levels, right?
Yeah.
Is there something to that? It's very, to your point, it's like the people behind the movies, they just show a certain way. They show up a certain way, right?
Yeah.
It's like, and it's always very like,
yeah, they're not looking to fight each other.
very neutral. I mean, except when they actually physically do.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know. Is there something to it, or is it too pedantic? Is it too low for that thing that we're trying to keep like pretty prestigious?
I think it's tough because with Hollywood, with sports, the rivalries are so genuine.
Yeah.
And I think with Hollywood, it would feel like a storyline.
Yeah.
Like, because there aren't that many. I think actually what people find more delightful in Hollywood is friendship, the opposite. Like the way that people are obsessed with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. Matt. Yeah, like just absolute besties, like sharing a bank account, loving each other. Like they're just, people like are just obsessed to find out like how tight some of these celebrities are. Like it's real friendship. And I wonder if that's the better version. I don't know what to do with it, but I don't know if
it seems to work better in music. You
the
know what
rivalry,
I mean?
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
but that's because
true.
Drake and Kendrick
because we have an example.
Yeah.
But if you 10 years ago, maybe
and then
it wasn't.
the NFL took it and was like, cool, put it at halftime.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. Has there ever been a massive rivalry in film?
There's narrative though. And I know that's a little parallel. There is some narrative around, like, for example,
Best of
Martin
the
Scorsese
generation.
being snubbed 5 times before getting Best Picture. I think for The
Leo.
Irishman, which is not his best film. You know what I mean? Like there's like things like
objectively.
Yeah, objectively. I'm just telling you that is not his best film. But like there's
That's a good
things
point.
like that. You know what I mean?
That's interesting. There are, it doesn't have to be like 1-to-1 in rivalry, but there are tensions in the storylines that maybe don't get exploited as much as they could in a way that's useful to the event itself. Like, I mean, there could have been a pretty, like every year until Leo finally won an Oscar, there could have been like a, will he win this year? Like betting meter. I mean, Kashi's probably, Kalshi's probably doing that now. I mean, that's actually an interesting thing to talk about. Like now that the betting
thing.
Like I know a ton of people who have placed bets on the upcoming Oscars.
I could see that, of course.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, now you can bet on anything, right?
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
Like we all know people are betting on like how many yellow cans we're gonna have on the table.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spike Lee brings some beef sometimes.
Yeah.
He's been known to be
it.
like, it's BS they won and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like it's definitely a smaller component than it is in sports, but you see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Do you think you can use it?
I think so, but I don't think that's going to be your driving principle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like, if people bring it, great. And I think if you can find a way to weave it into the narrative leading up to it that doesn't kill the product you're trying to sell, great. But like, I don't know if you could ever if I go back to my core of like, how does this help the movie industry? Does rivalry help the movie industry? I don't know.
That's why I like thinking about it as story.
I think
like
you're right.
Stories could help the movie industry.
Yeah.
Like I think if you actually play with it in a way where real life mirrors the movie world and you just treat everything like a story, I think that could be interesting. Not that you have to manufacture it, and not that I don't think it becomes the core, but if you have it, use it. And like I think mirror the world in which you wish people to immerse in.
I think you can tell a lot about Hollywood sometimes through it.
Yeah.
Like the one that comes to mind is, do you remember when James Cameron had Avatar and Catherine Bigelow had Hurt Locker and Hurt Locker won the Oscars, but James Cameron, his movie made $1 billion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's an interesting sort of like, oh, that's interesting what Hollywood considers to be more important at this moment in time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I don't know if it's a
sense message.
It's not a thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still really like obsessed with your idea though.
But so let's go back. I love your idea because it does what Jesse said we should do, which is don't reinvent the soul, but put it in a modern context. I think it does that.
Yeah.
What else could we do that does that? Like we said we're trying to sell magic and emotion. And again, I think that execution like delivers on that thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Put magicians
everywhere.
everywhere.
POV versus staying like
magicians.
keeping the neutrality of
like
thing, like
show all the magic. You know what I mean?
Show the magic, bring the emotion, bring your POV.
Yeah.
Do they still do I actually don't. I feel like they did this for a while, and I don't know, like how much is next generation of filmmakers integrated, like student films, student filmmaking. Yeah. I feel like at one point, and maybe it still exists, there was like a student film category. Maybe it wasn't like an official category, but I think there was like an honor, like a a competition, and then you were, if you won, you were honored. Like I don't think you were given an Oscar. I wish I could remember exactly, and so I don't want to speak without context, but I do feel like that. How do you make people fall in love with movies? Also, you need to bring the next generation along, and I think that's part of the modern context. But how do you integrate them into the show itself and make it part of the awards? Or interestingly, I mean, maybe this all just ties back to your original idea, Simon, but like if you have one of the feeds might be student filmmaker point of view, right? Because it's sort of representing the next generation and like what they think is cool might not be what the Academy thinks is cool and interesting. And so it might just be another feed.
Yeah, totally.
But it's always important, I think, to not just to celebrate next gen filmmakers, but to actually make them fundamental to whatever it is that you're celebrating.
The next thing that's going on.
Yeah.
The other one that keeps coming to mind too is like the gravitas. How do you is there ways to increase the gravitas of winning the award itself? Like, is there a ripple effect from once you've won it? You know what I mean? Because I think that will feed back into the legend and lore of the award show.
Okay, back to sports. I feel like we talked about this recently, but you win the Stanley Cup, like you're taking that bad boy on tour. Each person gets a day with it. You're like, it's interesting with like, obviously there are many individual awards for Oscars, but when you do Best Picture, the whole cast comes up there, the crew. Like I've never seen them up after Best Picture, like the tour, the Oscar going on its like little tour on its bus, or spending a day with each of the cast members or each of the
everybody on an open roof bus at Dodger Stadium.
It's sort of just
this is small, and this is a weird thing to say, but they have a Best Picture problem, which is that whenever they win the Best Picture, everyone walks up and the producers are talking. And I'd argue the producers are the least interesting people of that group on stage to the average person. Like in Hollywood, they're always like, oh, I know who that is. But like, no. Show the director or the star talking about how awesome it is to win the Best Picture. Yeah. Either way, that's an easy fix. We could talk to the Academy about that.
Some categories are irrelevant to the general public, but 100%. Still need to be celebrated. That's not the case for Best Picture, but there's like a bunch of categories where I can guarantee you there's a spike in Google search every time it shows up. It's like, wait, what is this?
Yeah. Well, they actually stopped a while ago. I think they stopped airing those.
Really?
They do fewer.
I think there are like certain awards that are delivered but are not part of the live show. Because at some point, I'm pretty sure, because at some point they were like, well, nobody really is like,
Best lighting,
best song, but best sound mixing. It's like, I don't know, like they all sounded great. I don't know if that's actually one that they took out, but I think they did.
Have you ever? I'm going to assume yes. Have you ever walked into someone's house who has an Oscar or an Emmy or a Golden Globe or anything like that?
An Oscar? Absolutely not. An Emmy, yes.
I don't think so. I guess I don't have any.
Emmy, yes. My neighbor has an Emmy.
Because Emmys are easier for us because like you get Emmys for in the commercial world. There are Emmys.
Yeah.
The rest, Golden Globes, never seen one. Academy Award, never seen one.
Seen an Academy Award, but it was because I was like, we were using the house for a set.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh, someone who's won an Oscar lives here. It was for Pee-wee's Playhouse. Or no, it wasn't Pee-wee's Playhouse. Sorry, that's not right. That was when I saw an Emmy for Pee-wee's Playhouse. The Oscar, I forget what it was for, but it was like one of the technical ones.
Yeah.
Either way, it's cool when you see one.
Yeah,
That's the
you're
other
like,
part
that's
too.
cool.
Is like it's a good statue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, that looks important.
Yeah.
And they're heavy, and they're like they have presence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know what you could do with that. I'm just simply saying it's cool.
Yeah, it is.
Like if you could see an Oscar back there, everyone would be like, what's that?
Well, when
Let's
we
put
win
one in
our,
post.
when we win our,
Let's put one in post.
or when we win our for best new
Golden
podcast,
Globe.
we'll stick the
we'll
Golden
apply.
Globe.
We'll do an FYC on Sunset. We'll go win that award next year.
Vote for us.
But yeah, I think that's it. It's like, what is the, I mean, like, this isn't this, I don't want to oversimplify, but it's like, what is the core energy of what you're trying to sell as an industry? And if you can figure that out, then how can you build an award show that kind of crystallizes that in the best way possible? And then how do you build I'm going to just use our world terms, but how do you build a go-to-market so that makes it most effective for this modern moment in time?
So that was my next question. We haven't talked about that at all. We talked about subcultures from a format standpoint, but not how to reach them. I think it's interesting how, we did talk about that part about the NFL and how music is a part of it. I think that reaches, that gets to subcultures. Fashion's a part of it. In your go-to-market, there's also there's a reality that generations consume the Academy Awards content differently, right? I think the younger the generation, the less they're going to sit and watch the whole show, and the older, the more they're going to watch the show, and probably less clips. There's probably a simple graph here. How does that, what does that mean for promoting the show pre-show? Yeah. Like, how do you go and get how do you make a version of it
four different formats?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I still think your idea solves that.
Because you keep it up to a certain standard.
Well, and they don't all have to be on TV. They don't your different feeds can be in different places. Some of them, yes, you said Anna Wintour with fashion, which is cool. But then some of the feeds, if you're, might be hosted by an influencer.
And maybe it's like a really great, like Anna Wintour was just what came to mind.
Yeah, totally.
But like,
that would be awesome.
But it's Anna Wintour is sort of a very specific fashion world compared to like influencer fashion world. And you know what I mean? Like there's elite people in those worlds too.
Totally.
That could do something if you do the partnership.
It'd be cool
correctly.
to have Anna Wintour and that person together.
Right.
Like you blend the worlds a little bit and then you put it out on social. I think it's super interesting. I mean, I think I wonder if there's ever any conversation on like Twitch during those. I don't know how much the Oscars show up on a platform like that.
There's probably a rights issue, but that's what I was, back to the tennis thing. That's what I was, I looked into it at some point. It was like, you're going to take the most interesting people in subcultures and in tennis. You're going to put it on Twitch, and you're going to reach because tennis suffers from younger people not watching the games, especially big Grand Slam finals. That's too long. They're too long, right? So how do you bring in a younger generation? And that's just a rights issue.
Yeah.
Like they sell exclusivity per country.
Yeah, they're screwing themselves.
They're screwing themselves. I think they are. But I again, it goes back to Simon's idea, the Twitch thing. I would watch that.
Yeah, totally. Because to your point, like you're right. You could make different size pieces of content for different cultures so easily, and then all you do is you control the distribution through which influencer or partner you want to work with.
Exactly.
And that also ensures that you keep that standard that you want up.
Yeah.
So that but it is probably like a very new world way of thinking about IP and all of that sort of stuff, right? Because you're to some degree you're relinquishing, but like it's like what you want to do is like if the show itself is this is the best version of magic and movies and all of that sort of thing, then every kind of next layer out of it is this is going to be the best version of interpreting that for this audience.
Well, a good example from the Super Bowl, is like the amazingly talented, brilliant dudes from Breaking and Entering Media.
Right.
They did basically like a live commentary of, I don't want to butcher it. I think it was, they were just like experiencing the entire thing in real time in their way.
Right.
I think they might have even partnered with BBDO for some part of it, but I think it's a really interesting example of like,
find the subgenres.
And they're in a massive following, have a really cool take on how to deliver like news that's going on in the media landscape. Yeah. They did it in their way, in their format, very social first. Totally. But also it's like bringing in a new perspective. I mean, a new audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
I feel like we cracked it.
Last question.
Oh, was that not the last question?
Okay, let me wrap up then.
No, go ahead.
I think I'll ask a question after. I think I think Simon just summarized it 5 minutes ago. If we are trying to get people to fall in love with movies again, and by selling magic and emotion, we're gonna not reinvent ourselves. We're gonna go to the DNA. We're gonna go back to the soul of the movie industry, and we're gonna put it in a modern context. So it's about bringing a point of view versus staying a little neutral and vanilla, which is what they've been doing for a while now. And executionally, you could give it a theme every year to make it a little more interesting, but really the execution that we all gravitated around and then talked about for like 20 minutes was bring in subcultures into it by having different streams of the show. So you have the fashion commentary on one YouTube channel, you have the comedy commentary on another one, you have like the super artsy movie technical commentary on another one, and that will help like expand sort of like the reach and interest. And then Jesse, you talked about also like how do we bring the next generation of filmmakers in the show itself to bridge to another generation and the future of the art.
Yeah. Can I do something really unorthodox and bring up a thing that just popped in my head, even though you just wrapped it up?
Yeah.
We were talking about like how to make people fall in love with the industry again, to love movies, use all these subcultures, and I buy all of it. But then I was thinking about the one thing that culture loves a lot and utilizes a lot is comedy. But comedy tends to not really win at the Oscars. It's really not like it's like the thing people love, but it's like
comedy movies, you mean?
Yeah. I was trying to think of like,
no, I don't think they
and I think it's just interesting to me because it's like sort of like in our industry, there are ads that people actually loved, but the industry claimed was horrible. Yeah. And you're like, but the people loved it. Yeah. And comedy is like this whole genre that I think culturally we're obsessed with. And it's a deeply embedded part of our culture. It's what we turn into memes. It's what we turn into extended conversation, but it has really very little representation in awards and in Oscars. And maybe it's like, I don't know, because we're celebrating excellence and expertise, it's just lowbrow. But I'm sort of like, I think you're missing I think our own shit's getting in our way of like what the people love and how do you use comedy a little bit more to be
it has its own category, but it's not considered amongst
it's not really core to it. And it's like, we don't need.
It's so complicated.
I know.
Comedy is so complicated.
I know.
Someone said this and I forget who it was and I forget where I even heard it, where they're like, someone will admit like I'm not a good cook or I don't really know what's good food. No one will ever say like, oh, I have no sense of humor. Yeah. Everyone thinks they have a sense of humor. Yeah. Even if they don't think they're funny, they think they know what funny is.
Yeah. It's so
and
true.
Like that's the root problem with comedy.
That's true.
Is like it's just so tough.
2 rapid fire questions to wrap it up for this year. Leo or Chalamet en français?
Leo.
I haven't seen the Chalamet one, so I have to say Leo.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I asked the question. Do I really have to answer it?
Yeah, come on.
I love both these guys.
Same.
I think Chalamet's going to get it. And last one, Best Picture this year?
Oh God, I don't know. I haven't seen enough of them, but
Of the one you've seen.
I really did love One Battle After Another.
Yeah, probably.
But I don't think it's going to win.
Yeah. I'm with you. I haven't seen Sinners. I haven't seen Frankenstein, which I want because I'm not a fan of that director. But I think
I really liked it.
One
I
Battle
will say.
Frankenstein.
And I don't usually watch his movies, but I thought it was pretty good.
I think One Battle is.
Yeah.
I actually
It was
think,
exceptional.
I actually think it's going to win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah. There we go. We
Well,
did
who
it.
cracked it? Did we crack it? Yes, I think we cracked it.
Oh, yeah, that's the question. Did we
Yeah,
crack it?
yes.
Yeah, Jesse, we cracked it.
Yeah,
Simon?
I think we cracked it.
Okay, cool.
Let's call it the
Guys, we
Academy.
cracked it.
Let's call it the Academy. Let's
For your
get this
consideration.
going.
All
For
right.
your consideration. We cracked it. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.
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 Thank you for listening to another episode of Crack It in an Hour. If you like the show, please don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. If you have questions, thoughts, or feedback, shoot us an email at hello@crackitpodcast.com or on Instagram @crackitpodcast. Music done by Michael Anastasi, cover art shot by Mick Mint, and all things audio and video taken care of by Nathan Nash. See you next time.